Israel has now returned the bodies of more than 30 Palestinians to Gaza as part of an ongoing exchange deal under the US brokered ceasefire plan. The Nasser Medical Complex in Khan Younis has confirmed that it received the bodies of 30 Palestinian prisoners from the Israeli side. Now, as per the deal, Israel is to return 15 Palestinian remains for every deceased hostage returned by Hamas. So far, Israel has handed over 225 bodies to Gaza. This exchange is significant as it reflects that both sides have kept the deal alive. The peace deal has been considered fragile since its inception with the signing in Egypt's Sharm el-Sheikh. Though there have been strikes in Gaza from the Israeli side and also provocative statements from government officials, as well as firing from Hamas, summary executions that have taken place within Gaza. Despite all of this, the deal has largely been followed up until now. This is the latest that we are tracking on the broadcast. Israel, of course, has to return 15 bodies, Palestinian bodies, for every body of a dead hostage that it receives. Israel has, of course, received 2 bodies in the last 24 hours. They've been identified as Amiram Cooper and Shahar Baruch. In fact, the identities were confirmed in a statement put out by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office. The families of the deceased were informed after the completion of the identification process by the National Institute of Forensic Medicine. In fact, the handing over of these bodies via the Red Cross had taken place a day after the Gaza ceasefire was shaken by a series of deadly Israeli strikes across the enclave. Hamas has so far returned the remains of 17 of the 28 deceased hostages that it had agreed to hand over as part of the truce deal that was brokered by the United States of America. Meanwhile, Al Nasser Hospital has confirmed receiving the dead bodies of 30 Palestinians as well. This is the latest in the hostage exchange that is still underway. With us on the broadcast is Major General Sudhakarji, Senior Geopolitical and Strategic Defense Expert, joining us from New Delhi. Thank you so much for taking out time and speaking to us on NewsX World. We've been seeing this process continue. It's been quite a fragile truce deal. We've seen ceasefire violations take place. The IDF claims that it was Hamas that violated the ceasefire by striking and in fact shooting at some of its soldiers, which resulted in the death of one IDF personnel. Israel struck back and about 100 people have lost their lives in the series of strikes that had taken place in Gaza. There were also strikes that had taken place in West Bank as well. And now we're seeing that the ceasefire is still holding. Israel is returning the remains of 15 Palestinian for every deceased hostage returned by Hamas as well. I wanted to understand from you how much further can this really hold? Critics are pointing out that Hamas is stalling. Hamas has clearly made its the shortage of heavy equipment and the sort of difficulties it's facing on the ground clear. There's a team from Egypt that has allowed a heavy excavator to be deployed within Gaza to remove the bodies from the rubble as well. Where do you see this headed?
Yeah, good evening. Thank you for getting me for your show on a very sensitive and quite a fragile issue, I would say. Being a military man, we are trained to work through all kinds of military resistance and interference. I would give the same response that let's give peace a chance. And we have to keep working through the collapse of the peace talks. We have to keep working through commitments, allegations, counter allegations, and we need to push it ahead because the kind of genocide one is witness to, it doesn't go down too well in 21st century in a rules-based international order. I personally feel, regardless of all kinds of breaking of the peace talk, we should give a fair chance to this. Back to you, Pia.
Indeed, and I also wanted to understand from you At the moment, Donald Trump has been calling for an international coalition to be involved on the ground, whether and roping in allies from the Arab states, whether it's Egypt, Qatar, UAE, or even Turkey for that matter. Interestingly, the IDF recently put out a statement registering its apprehensions on Turkish troops on ground in Gaza. Why do you think they've done so, and what could be the concerns Israel has with Erdogan?
Uh, I, as a very independent student of geopolitics, my mind also gets stuck there. The question mark comes up the moment you hear any footprint or representation of Turkey anywhere in these kind of sensitive, vulnerable issues. We should keep Turkey as far away as possible, have only neutral elements who do not have any direct or indirect selfish interest to derive or gain from this particular deal. Turkey is part of the game, I would say. And we all know Turkey, Qatar, Pakistan, their arch enemy is Israel. To have Turkish troops there in middle of such a kind of a controversial turn of event, I personally feel the neutral force needs to give a revisit, relook. I understand that he's playing a very important role in having, in fact, Donald Trump had given him the full loose rope that you please take the initiative, make sure that the talk is through in the Qatar and wherever Egypt, and we need to have a deal for sure. So he has somehow or the other, he has managed to get a deal, but at what cost? Keeping Turkey there, there are chances of issues getting manipulated to their interest. Because if Israel is the arch enemy of Turkey, and visibly and in the behind the scene, Qatar is there, and Pakistan is also playing to the gallery. Now, it will make these kind of complex conglomeration of neutral troops very, very difficult. We need to have people or troops from the countries which are neutral, comparatively neutral, not Turkey for sure. It is too close to Israel. It has got a common border. It has got common interests, challenging, rather clashing interest. So I would rather advise people who matter in the chain that we should try and keep Turkey away from these kind of groupings as far as possible for a better and effective outcome. Back to you, please.
All right, so with that, I would like